Um, so what we're going to do tonight, we're going to explore each quadrant, and I'm going to ask you. We're going to take a slight break in between the quadrants, and I'm going to give you time to consider. I'm assuming some of you are product owners, or at least acting partly in the role, or in some fashion in the role, or some of you are at least aware of what it is in your organization. And so we're going to explore quadrant. Then I'm going to ask you to team up if you're listening in a group or just individually, and just think about that quadrant and think about what it means in your context. So if you're an individual product owner, how does that quadrant, what does it mean to you? And then how much time are you spending in it? So we're going to reflect in each quadrant, and I want you to personally do an assessment. I put in the chat 2 links just to let people know, and you don't have to use it, but I put a worksheet in there for a quadrant worksheet. Hello. I put a quadrant PDF link in the chat, and you can download it and use it to take notes, or just draw on a piece of paper quadrants or on a Word document. And then I put a link to a free ebook in there, a product owner ebook that I have on LeanPub. So there's 2 resources in chat, 2 links that you can download. The worksheet could be useful, but you can just jot down your notes. And then we're going to do a balancing act across the quadrants at the end. And then we're going to talk about, I know I like to over deliver. I like to under promise and over deliver. So I'm going to add a 5th quadrant. So I don't know if this is a tetrahedron or a quadrahedron or something. So it's not quadrants anymore, but I'm going to give you a 5th quadrant. It's like a baker's dozen, and then that'll be the end, and then we'll do Q&A. So that's sort of coming attractions. Here's the quadrants. There's no magic here. There's nothing up my sleeve. It's just the way I think of the broad and the deep sort of responsibilities of product ownership. I think quadrant 1 is product management, and I'll explain what each one is, and that's envisioning and clarifying. So I think of that as the visioning, the road mapping, the clarifying quadrant. Quadrant 2 is the project management quadrant. And very often people look at me, I get a lot of ribbing about that. It's like, you're an Agile coach, Bob, you've been doing this for a long time. How the heck can you mention project management and Agile? It's sort of oxymorons and things. And it's fine. But I do think that there's project management activities, thinking in the product owner role, and I'll explain that. And it's around execution and delivery. A 3rd quadrant is leadership. A lot of product owners, I think, miss the fact that they're in a leadership role. Now, I probably should make it a little L leadership. I'm not talking about them. I'm not promoting them. But what I'm saying is, from the team's perspective, they're providing inspiration. They should be providing inspiration. They should be providing visionary leadership. So I think there's an inspire and engagement activity in quadrant 3. And then the 4th quadrant is the one that probably resonates most. 1 and 4 probably resonate the most with folks who've read books about product ownership. And it's what I call the business analysis quadrant, or the build and validate quadrant. Quadrant 4 is the land of user stories. If you're familiar with user stories, quadrant 4 is sort of the land of user stories and acceptance criteria, and backlogs to some degree. So sort of the tactical aspects that folks are very familiar with.